Fuck them Cowboys! Yeah! Never lose sight of the magic of this football team. Yeah! Here we go!
I'm all in.
Cowboys fans, it's your host Slater here. If you bleed silver and blue and you want honest talk, no filters, you're in the right place. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, and enjoy the video. So let's flip the script here. So now we talked about CJ Stroud. Is he the right guy? Now let's answer a question in the NFC North and the NFC picture in general. How good is Caleb Williams? I mean,
so we have the Bears and the Rams, right? This was we talked about the Broncos, Bills, Pats, and Texans. Now we're moving on to the Bears and the Rams, and the Rams is last minute 20-17 victory over the Chicago Bears at home there in overtime. Fantastic game. Caleb Williams. I can take credit for saying that I thought this guy was going to turn into something. It's true. I said it.
Yeah.
I dubbed Caleb Williams the Night King, and winter is coming, baby, because this guy is only going to get better. That pass he made to the corner of the end zone to his tight end will go down as one of the just most iconic plays, not only for the Bears, but for the NFL in a long time.
Dude,
that was spectacular. You talk about both of us are sitting there stunned, mouths wide open.
Yeah.
I mean, even though it was a loss, man, I'll let you take it over. That was amazing to see. That was so cool.
Dude, I mean, I don't even know how to describe it in words because the way that he just turns around, you're talking fourth down, he snaps the ball, he starts running back because that pass rush is beaming through, and all of a sudden, you're like, well, it's over. We all know how this story plays out for about 99% of quarterbacks. They just start scrambling circles, and then they're just going to heave something up, and it ain't going to work. All of a sudden, he heaves it up, and we're like, oh, there's a corner where, he's going to knock it down. And all of a sudden, it's like, bang. There was no push off either, which was amazing to me, by the way. I thought there was a push off the rip. All of a sudden, tight end backs up a step. Corner is like at the front pylon and not realizing the ball is actually chunked deeper than where he's at. And that tight end's just like, bam. But, just for our viewers to know, this guy drafted Caleb Williams in, I'm pretty sure the 5th or 6th round of fantasy football. Like, he was that committed. Like, he drafted him almost, right after he drafted Baker most of the time. If Baker wasn't there, he got Caleb Williams. But, talking about Caleb Williams, the Bears, we did a film study early in the year, too, trying to just kind of warn our viewers and warn our fans that, hey, this guy's got the ability to kind of do some crazy playmaking and that was in the early stages of this offense, in the early stages of Ben Johnson and what they were doing. And, we learned real fast in that game of how explosive Caleb Williams can be, how shifty, how magician-y, Caleb Williams can be. And he only got better from there. It seemed like after week 14, they were hot. They were somehow scoring all the time, and they were unstoppable. Him and that tight end Loveland are going to be a special duo. I mean, that is like Jason Witten, Tony Romo kind of things going on there. And I will say this, you're probably going to ride a low to start next year. I'm going to assume teams are going to study their film. They're going to try to figure you out. They're going to try to figure out you and Ben Johnson. But I assume for the long-term future, Chicago's going to be all right. As long as Ben Johnson can coach Caleb Williams the way he's doing it right now, because Caleb Williams in the past, and he still shows signs of it, and he's learning, is he's got that arm like Mahomes. Sometimes he just be throwing ducks. And I don't mean like ducks like bad passes. I'm talking like he just shoots for the back of the fans, all the way in the back of the stadium when it's 10-yard pass or whatever. His arm is so strong. And for Caleb Williams to start honing that skill like he did this year is really what made the difference for Chicago. Finding that ability to really narrow down those mistakes that he was having last year and not turning the ball over as much and not overthrowing receivers, not underthrowing receivers. And I think that plays a big credit to how play calling happens. That's something that
here's the thing though. It's like what you're talking about is he can play above the board. He's got that ability to make crazy plays.
Yep.
He can whip up magic and cast spells when he's in a pinch, and when the game's on the line, he can do all that stuff. He can ad-lib. It's crazy to watch him play. But what's going to make him a legend in this game is getting the easy layup stuff right. It's like he can shoot the threes, he can do the crazy dunks, he's got behind the back passes, and all the cool Euro tricks and everything, but he struggles in the free throw game, right?
Yeah.
And once he gets that lined up with everything else, I mean, dude's going to be a rock star. But that's how I view him in his development going forward. Once he gets that last piece under his belt, just the easy layup, just give what they get, just take what they give you.
Yep.
He's going to be unstoppable with Ben Johnson. They're going to be in this together for years and be a problem in the North.
Yeah. My biggest thing is that's a great point, because I'm thinking about it now, when you talk about layups, how many times they turned the ball over? 2 or 3 times in that game? They still turned the ball over a lot. If you don't, it's like for Buffalo and Chicago, it could be a totally different weekend for y'all if y'all don't turn the ball over.
Right.
When you don't turn the ball over, you don't give them short field, you don't give them momentum swings, you don't give them free points or wherever you turned it over at, but you can control games by just not turning the ball over. Imagine if they didn't turn the ball over 3 times and pinned them deep or took a field goal or even scored a touchdown in those moments. They blow them out instead. And this isn't Rams versus Seahawks and Denver versus
you held the Rams to 17 points.
Yeah.
That's tough to do.
Yeah. And so it's one of those things where it's like, hey, now we need to work on the layups. We know you got the explosiveness. We know you can do the craziest of craziest things. You're the Harlem Globetrotter of all quarterbacks.
Learn to bunt, man.
Yeah.
Sack fly, dude. Figure it out.
Now it's time for you to learn how to just be the Michael Jordan, do the fundamentals right. And so I think if that happens, it'll be a good road for him.
So you like what you see from Caleb Williams? You think he's gonna turn into what everybody expected and thought that he would?
I think because of Ben Johnson, I think he will. I think if it was still Matt Eberflus out there, or if it was someone like that wasn't very offensive minded to unlock the ability of Caleb Williams or find a way to play to his strengths instead of him just being like raw talent, actually hone the talent. I think that's what's going to get him there.
It's going to be really interesting to see now that we've seen, all the tools in his tool belt and what he can actually do. This is year 1. They're gonna go, back to the bat cave here and, put up the chalkboard and invent new weapons and new tools and bring in new players and fresh ideas to build off of what they've already accomplished this season.
Yep.
I mean, football is so much fun, and to see this kind of stuff going on, now there's the NFC Beast, and now there's, the North up there that all have dynamic, explosive teams with really good players on the rosters. It's fun to watch how this is all going to develop and to see the rivalries happen and how good these teams are getting, and to know that, these quarterbacks that lead these teams, some of them are pretty young. I mean, we have Dak, he's a little older, but some of these guys are going to be, going at each other for the next 8 to 10 years. And, it's a privilege, and it's so much fun to talk about it and watch it. So I'm already excited for next year, because of the way this is shaping up with the coaching changes and everything that's going on. Man, we've got some really epic football ahead of us.
All right. I'm gonna go on a stretch here. All right.
Sure.
But you're a Game of Thrones fan. I'm a Game of Thrones fan. Let me put it this way. All right.
Yeah.
If King's Landing is the NFL playoffs, and let's say that's where the Lombardi Trophy is held and everything,
sure.
We've got the NFC North, except for in this Game of Thrones, there's no everyone's protected under the Starks. The North's just up there, and they all fight to the death to crown one King of the North, right?
Right.
And then if I compare it to what would be the NFC East in a Game of Thrones thing, I think
Stormlands, man.
The Stormlands, okay.
Yeah, or the Vale.
Yeah, when I think of the NFC West, I think of the Lannisters because of the 49ers and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the NFC South, where are we thinking there? Where's their kind of origin on this Game of Thrones?
Dorne, man. They're Dorne.
They're Dorne. All right, fair enough. I was going on a stretch there, but
sunshine, shimmering isles. That's the tropical desert. Water gardens and cactus area. So that's logical. That makes sense.
Yeah. So I mean, we're not gonna go into AFC, but for the NFC, I started thinking. I was like, man, you started talking about King in the North, and I was like, let's go on a stretch here. But